Hi, I'm Chris James, and you're watching A Healthy Alternative. Today we're going to be putting together my favorite flatbread sandwich. Okay, so we're going to be working with 3/4 cup of water, 2 tablespoons of grapeseed oil, 2 cups of spelt flour, 2 teaspoons of sea salt, 2 teaspoons of oregano, 2 teaspoons of basil, 2 teaspoons of onion powder, and 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne powder. All right, so we're going to start by putting the 2 cups of spelt flour into our bowl. And of course, you can see I have a wooden spoon here. And then we're going to be adding some sea salt. That's 2 teaspoons of the sea salt. You can add less if you want. And then we're going to be doing oregano, 2 teaspoons of the oregano. And we're going to be heading into 2 teaspoons of that good old basil. And then we're going to be adding 2 teaspoons of onion powder. I love onion powder. And then we're going to be adding the 1/4 teaspoon of the cayenne. If you like your stuff a little bit hotter, you can add more, but I wouldn't recommend it. It's pretty spicy. If you guys want to use this bread to make like peanut butter jelly or something, you could leave some of the spices out. Now, I'm going to switch over to a whisk here, and we're just going to whisk all the ingredients together to make sure everything's mixed up pretty good. That is important to do before you start adding the water. And now we're going to add in a little bit of the water and kind of get the mixture going. And then we're going to come back and add some grapeseed oil. We're going to be adding the 2 tablespoons of grapeseed oil. And we're gonna mix that up a little bit. And then we're gonna be coming back with the rest of the water as we finish mixing our dough. Give it a good mix. Make sure to get all the ingredients mixed up well. You know, take your time, don't rush. Make sure you do not put too much water in. You can always add a little water later, but you don't want it to be sticky. And then I like to start kneading the dough while it's actually in the bowl. And just kind of get all the ingredients off the side of the bowl and, you know, stuff like that. We're going to flour our surface once your ball is ready. And we're just going to do another 2 minutes or so of kneading. I usually knead it for about 1 minute to 3 minutes, just depending on how I feel. You just want to make sure to get everything incorporated properly. Of course, movie magic, the dough is finished. And we're going to actually use this cutter I have here, this pizza cutter, and we're going to be rolling our dough into a log. And once we get it into a nice even log shape, and as you can see, I'm just rolling it between my hands to kind of make it a log. Just try to make the log as equal, as proportionate as possible, because we're going to end up cutting it into equal parts. Well, at least that's what I like to do. I like to cut it into like 8 equal parts. Sometimes I'll end up with 9, but I'll usually just cut it in half, and then I'll put both the equal pieces next to each other, and then I'll cut those pieces in half, and then I'll end up with 8 equal parts at the end of the day. It depends on how big you want to make your flatbreads. And of course, you know, it's not a perfect science. Some pieces are a little bit bigger than others. Once you have your pieces, as you can see, I kind of roll it into a disc type of shape, and then on my floured surface I just kind of squish it down, and it already kind of has a disc shape to it. Makes it a little bit easier. Make sure to put flour on your roller, and then I just rock it back and forth a couple times, turn it, flip it, rock it a couple times, turn it, flip it. You know, you're just trying to make a circle as best as you can. It doesn't have to be perfect. That one came out pretty big. I'm going to make the other ones a little smaller. And then there's my finished product. I like to put it on parchment paper. We're going to put a little bit of grapeseed oil in the pan just to coat the pan, honestly. I actually put a little bit too much. You don't need that much, or you can even leave it dry if you want. And then you're going to add your flatbread to the pan, and you're really just going to cook it on one side for about 1 minute to 2 minutes or so. It really doesn't take long to cook. It's really up to you. This dough is really safe to eat even raw, so it's not really a huge deal. And then you flip it. And now we're going to be moving on to the filling, topping, whatever you want to call it. I just have a bushel of kale here and some red and green peppers, and of course a white onion. And we're just going to chop everything up, and then we're going to put it in the saucepan to simmer, as you can see here. And I usually simmer on a medium heat, and you just kind of like, you know, cooking everything down a little bit. You can add some seasoning here if you want to. I typically will add some onion powder, some sea salt, and some cayenne pepper to the kale. And, you know, when you add it all in, all of your vegetables and everything are going to be at the bottom. What you're going to want to do is, once you get it all the kale added in on top, you're going to come back and you're going to take your spatula and kind of flip everything uniformly. Like, you want to flip it all uniformly. And this is me adding the salt. I don't add too much salt. It really just a couple of dashes of salt is all you need. Try not to over season the kale. And once again, with the onion powder, I just kind of sprinkle a little bit on top. It's already very flavorful due to the vegetables and everything like that. And the bread is actually really flavorful. So you really do not need that much season to go into this. So once I've added all my seasonings, I toss it a little bit, and I try to, like I said, flip sections at a time of the kale. I just want it to cook on the bottom, and then I want to flip the whole bottom over and then cook the other side. And of course, I'm going to be topping this bad boy with the avocado. So we're going to peel the avocado, and I like to just kind of cut it into slivers while it's still in the skin, and then I will remove the skin. And of course, I have, you know, some nice even slivers that I'll be putting on top. And depending on how many breads you want to make, you might need 2 avocados, but I typically just do 1. Now, I usually like to put whole tomato sliced on top of my flatbread, but I actually used it a day before to make this tomato sauce. So I'm going to just spread the tomato sauce on the flatbread so that I have, you know, that tomato flavor. And you can use a spread, or you can use avocado spread. You know, there's a lot of different, you know, toppings you could put on this. It doesn't have to be like this. Or you could just use tomato. Then, of course, I just take a spoonful of my kale mixture, spoon it on there, and then, of course, grab a couple of these precious avocados. And, I mean, that's pretty much it. All right, so I just put some quinoa with it, and with some green ahi sauce on there. I hope you guys enjoyed this quick video. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, the application of knowledge is power, and I will see you guys next time.